It is another edition of the Texas Porch, Texas Talk with a touch of sports. My name is JP Heath. We've got the Executive Committee, a.k.a. Mitch and Paul, on the extravaganza today, or whatever time you're listening. Huh?
Call me something?
I called you to come on the podcast. I'd like to welcome you back on one of your own podcast episodes. No, I was trying to be witty. I get intimidated around you. I was trying to think of our other nickname.
Makes sense.
I don't know, Inner Circle, Executive Committee, Traveling Trio. I don't know. What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Good enough.
Yeah, that's good. I'll accept that.
The Mitch designed at TexasPorch.com. You can get all of your Texas Porch episodes and more. I don't know why I said that, but we have This Week in Texas Sports and History coming up. But mainly to avoid all of that boring COVID worldwide pandemic talk, we're going to talk about No State Fair. I took a little bit of a Texas road trip. I'll tell you how Texas that was. And, a surprise topic to one of us three coming up in just a little bit. Mitch, we counted it out right before the episode because you're a big time corporate exec, real estate mogul. It's been 3 or 4 episodes. So, back on the broadcast, recorded as live taped airwaves. How does it feel to be back broadcasting?
Yeah, it feels good. I know everyone earlier in the a few episodes ago in the podcast, you know, they know that we resolved our contract talks, and so I was on the air after a few weeks, and then here we go again. There's another break. I'm just going to leave it at I can't really say much about it.
Okay.
That's all I can say. That's all I can say. But I'm glad to be back.
What you missed it was last week. My days are off because we're recording this on a different day, but I got the Gatorade story out of Paul. Mitch, are you proud of me?
Unbelievable.
Paul, did I kind of trick that? We didn't talk about it after the fact. Did I kind of, like a master CIA negotiator or trainer, interrogator is the actual word I was looking for. Did I
trick it out of him?
Yeah, did I trick you into that, Paul? Or are we all just still friends and it was okay? Safe zone.
It was a little shocking. I'm having a hard time kind of opening up these days.
Okay, buddy. It's okay, buddy.
Yeah, it's a dark moment in my past that I've overcome.
It's in the past.
I have overcome. Yeah, I have overcome. So, yeah, the gift basket of fruits and nuts was a nice gesture. I appreciate that. It was on the doorstep the next morning. So,
Anytime.
You know, condolences appreciated. But no, I think we're okay. I think we're on the other side of it now. So,
JP,
move on.
That is a bold move to bring that up, to bring that moment of the past up, especially in the coronavirus, reality that we're in, and people are concerned about, spreading germs and things like that. Very, very bold by you.
You're testing
it, Mitch. And it's a good thing it was 25 years ago, so it didn't really affect anyone. Currently, I've not made any Gatorade myself professionally. Since the start of the coronavirus, it has not been necessary. So, aside from some sweet tea at the house, I have not made any beverages for the public. So,
okay,
I've kept my distance and made sure everything was safe. So,
and in the end, we're just having fun, folks. I mean, we're just messing around, man. Nothing too serious. So,
speak for yourself.
The first topic I wanted to get to, without talking about the virus that I think people are tired of, I have noticed the uptick in masks. That's a quick kind of impromptu topic. Probably in the minority, maybe in Texas, but probably the minority of, people definitely where I live in, more smaller town to mid-sized Texas than anything. But I liked the president's edict to the strong suggestion. I guess it's not breaking the law if you don't wear one, but I've seen a lot more going out. And who knows, Mitch, you're the data guy, maybe that this will kind of put a stopgap there with the rising number of cases that we're having here in the state.
I mean, it was a good move by Abbott to do that. I think. Now he's taken some heat from kind of his base, but I've certainly noticed an uptick in masks because all the businesses, said, well, since there's this order in place, we need to make our customers abide by it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really the most important thing. It's really not when, you're walking around the neighborhood or you're, whatever. It's not, you go to the park. It's not that. It's really when you're inside buildings, which, in large part is businesses. So I think it's going to be a helpful move. I mean, I think the question is how many people are abiding by it, but overall, it's definitely a good move.
Paul, how are the mid-cities doing?
Yeah, I think my neck of the woods is I've definitely seen an uptake in those being compliant from the latest recommendations and orders and all that. I mean, I'm wearing one going into restaurants, and I wasn't doing that before. I've been to a few restaurants here and there. I'm wearing it when I, am asked to, and I mean, I don't have a problem. It's just like, obviously you're eating and drinking, so it's kind of, you got to take it off at some point. But it's definitely just here and there and all around everywhere I've been recently. It feels like more people are wearing them, and a little more compliance on that end of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need to make some kind of mask with a big hole in the middle of it, so you can wear it while eating and just shovel the food.
Oh, they've got all kinds of good stuff. Yeah. Have you seen the one with the guy who he's got it splits in half, and it's like attached to his arm. So when he pulls his arm down, his thing opens up, and he can put the fork in there and then pull it out and then close it.
Sweet,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
I guarantee there will be like legit products like that. Yeah. It's going to happen.
Mine's in the other room, but I've got a Rangers mask in the trip I'm about to talk about coming up. Then we got the announcement from Governor Abbott right as we were, almost halfway to the great hamlet of Fredericksburg. So I wore that out, but I hadn't washed it yet. So I finally washed the mask. 3 months, better be time to wash it. So now it smells like, not dry cleaner, the fabric softener that we use.
Yeah.
But the ones I do, and I'll stop talking mask here in a second, but the ones I do really like are the ones that you can put a picture of your face on the mask. So
it looks, that's nice.
So I thought I'd get either like Josh. Y'all, it's a very bearded show, I guess. It's half and half. Three of us that frequent the show regularly have beards, and three of us are very unmanly, and we can't grow much facial hair. But I thought I'd mix it up and get one of Paul or Mitch with the beard. The beard look.
That'd be great. Shareable face mask. I guess you'd call that a face mask.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen Paul? You posted it. You got to go. You text us too. Well, what would you call that big bubble thing that you text
they call
us?
It like the safe pod or something. It's ridiculous, but it's great. It's basically, it looks like a clear plastic collapsible laundry basket turned upside down with armholes. So it basically just encapsulates your upper torso. And so it doesn't hit you on the head. It doesn't appear. It shows someone, doing business and like taking money from a salesperson.
Smile on his face.
Teacher,
really happy.
Shows a teacher, assisting a student that are not wearing masks, by the way. The students are not. It shows someone working on their laptop, and then there's this one woman that kind of looks like she's in a coffin. I'm not real sure what's going on there. My best medical understanding of it is if you're in a coffin, you don't need the covering anymore, but I don't really know what – it's an actual product. It was on Facebook today. So
those things like that.
Yeah.
And you've seen the ones with the restaurants too, where they're like – it's like almost like you're in a big wine glass or something at a restaurant. And surely those, I don't think those, those kinds of products are going to catch on. But you can imagine if there was if we had something that was like as deadly as Ebola, which was like 50% or something mortality rate, and contagious as coronavirus, like I wonder what we would do as a society. Because that would be so dangerous. Everything would just be so dangerous. Would we just lock in, or would we start wearing these products that are like we're all walking around in spacesuits?
I think a combination. We'd be locked in, and then the people that really had to get out, be essential, they'd be in like hazmat suits. If it was like
people with money, I guess.
Yeah,
it'd be like Outbreak. It'd be like the movie Outbreak and Contagion and all the other ones.
So I took a little trip, guys. I felt very Texan this past week. Second straight year that I've gone to the Hill Country, the 4th of July. Last year, a member of the podcast and I went to the Robert Earl Keen concert in Kerrville. Well, they canceled that this year, but had eyes. Mrs. Texas Porch and I went to the great town of Fredericksburg. Now, I know Paul's answer, Mitch, but have you ever been to Fredericksburg or that kind of hill country? I guess that would be kind of the middle hill country, the southwest hill country area.
Yeah, I've definitely been down there. It's just fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful area of Texas.
So a couple things.
And lots of culture, too. That's the cool thing about it.
Oh, my gosh.
So much culture.
For sure.
Yeah, going last year, the first thing that stood out was all the wineries. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Governor Abbott had the big edict while we were driving there about the mask, but a couple days before that, they shut down all bars, and if you made 51% of your business on alcohol, you couldn't be open. So that cut out the winery idea. There were still some of them open, but most of them, I'd say 90% of the winery. So I'm not huge whiny, tipsy JP most of the time, but that was something I'd really like to do because I've never done it. So that's the only thing I think we missed out on because of all this, but it really was pretty normal. And if anything, being very selfish here, the crowds were really thinned out. Last year when we went, Paul, there was remember that huge parade. I guess we caught the tail end of that, or we were driving, and we saw some of the parade, but I mean, this was probably 40% of the crowd. So, don't want to come across anti-small business, but it was really nice not having a lot of people there. So that felt really good. But the big thing we did, there's two things. We had a busy Friday, went to the elephant preserve. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, just from you. I didn't know that existed until you shared pictures.
Yeah, so the wife's, a teacher friend of the wife's told her about this, and maybe that's smart marketing. They don't want too many people to come to it, but it was amazing. Crown jewel of Texas. It cost a pretty penny. It was expensive, but it was worth every.
I see that paycheck.
Yes, right back at you, Mr. Mogul. But it was worth every dollar because you got to bathe the elephants. You got to. They did all these tricks, playing soccer. I mean, it's pretty close. There's about 30 to 40 of us, and you're on this elephant preserve. You go down this state highway, then you turn off on this road, and I mean, there's no advertising for it. That's really out in the open, but it benefits the Asian elephants. There's 5 of them, all female, and there are a lot of questions I wanted to ask, but I didn't. I assume that was because you couldn't have men in there messing stuff up, mating all over the place for make little Asian elephants. But
sexist.
So it's obviously part of sanctuary, and they've got 2 giraffes, so they're adding this Australian wing to it too. They talked about all these other animals. And it was just amazing because we got our pictures with them. They called them like mani-pedis. They trimmed their nails in front of us. They did handstands. Part of you feels kind of, they're doing tricks for you and you paid your money.
Right.
But, I mean, it does go to a good cause to preserve these animals. So quick trivia question. One thing I did, among many, one thing I did remember, how much food do you think these elephants eat per day?
Gosh, I bet is it 100 pounds? Like, is that
one's like 7,000 pounds, I think, is around the average weight. There are a lot that get bigger, the Asian elephants, but yeah, these were like 4 or 5 tons. And like the shortest one was about 7.5 feet tall, because had a picture of it with next to me, and it was gigantic. But would you believe? You have a guess, Mitch? Do you care?
I mean, 100 pounds seemed like a lot, but yeah, I guess I'll.
150 to 200 pounds of food a day.
Good gracious.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did the quick math, and it's about right what they were charging us. Not in double digits, but what they were charging everybody. I did a head count. I was like, they are making thousands of dollars for these shows, and it goes to feed them and take care of these animals. Plus, I mean, they really do care about them, and they did an amazing job. I mean, great thing. I mean, y'all have kids at that age that would really, really enjoy it. But even me with the wife, we loved every minute of that. It was really hot, but hey, newsflash, July in Texas, it's hot. But it was just, it was amazing. I'm trying to think of any other factoids. I wanted, one thing, you'd appreciate this, Mitch, because it made me look foolish. So there's like 40 or 50 people, and they're asking different questions about the elephant. And somebody said, how many muscles, like they started talking about the trunk of the elephant. So I'll ask you guys, how many muscles do you think are in the trunk of the elephant? I don't know why I have to touch my nose and go down, because I think you know what an elephant trunk looks like. So
Yeah, thanks for the visualization, but I got it. I don't know, maybe one. It seems like it's all,
Paul?
Sorry, I'm caught up on the visualization. Good stuff. Yeah, thanks for the radio audience appreciates that as well. Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably like 50 different ones. I don't know. I mean, the human tongue has quite a few.
Mitch,
I don't know.
Mitch, we are kindred spirits, because that's what I guessed. To partly be funny, but partly because it was crickets chirping.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, one? She goes, who said that? Who said that? And he goes, no, not one. But it's like 100,000 muscles inside the trunk. And they threw some flowers down on the floor, and like the elephant trunk, they can pick up a dime off the floor or off the ground and pick up the flowers, and they handed it to her. And it was amazing. I could not recommend it if y'all are ever in that.
Interesting.
And it's called I'm looking up the elephantpreserve.com, so I'm not the greatest marketer trying to publicize them, but just look up the Elephant Preserve. It's a little bit near Fredericksburg. So the other thing I did, that was in the afternoon. Earlier that day, went to Enchanted Rock, and hearing about it, in Josh Abbott band songs, Pat Green songs, got to get to Enchanted Rock, but I never really knew much about Enchanted Rock at all until, Mr. Texas himself was explaining to me we didn't drive past it. We drove a mile or so away from it. You pointed it out last year. Does that sound right?
We saw you can't really see it from the highway. If I recall correctly, just you see the sign, it just turns off there. But I pointed out that, it's out there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's cool.
Yeah. The farm to market road we took was that way. And we drove up to the park, and newsflash, it was hot in Texas, but this was like 8:30 in the morning. So you get up there, and Mitch, are you familiar at all with Enchanted Rock? I'm sure you've heard of it, but do you know about it?
No, I don't know a lot of details about it, but
so
it's a big spot.
It's a big spot. It's just this big granite dome. So I had a picture of it, there being like different routes, because I don't know if you told me, Paul, or somebody said, getting prepped for it. Yeah, there are 3 different paths. You can take this, this, and this, and you can get up to the top, right? But no, there's like a loop trail that you can. Have you done it, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there's the loop trail, but then once you get up to this certain peak, there's a plateau trail, or there's a summit trail that you take. And kids are just zipping by me. They're just flying by me. So I would not run at all, but I would walk like 30 seconds. How big an old boy am I? Pretty hefty. It was tough, but made it up to the very top. Got me a selfie on top of Enchanted Rock. And I probably couldn't have done it that day or later, the next day or that week. I was very sore because the tough is going up, but coming down, you're using all those muscles you never use. So I have these muscles inside of my thigh and the outside of my calves. I was like, man, I'm glad I wore the shoes I did, because it hurt like a mother hubbard the next couple days. But that was very gratifying. And it was just so beautiful getting up to the top. And it was even kind of crowded. They had limited the crowds. But again, it seemed like there were about 15, 20 people at the top. Met a new friend from Virginia, and he took my picture at the top. But I could not recommend those 2 things enough. And getting to do them in one day, I felt the Texas just oozing out of me.
Yeah, it's a cool place. That place it's so popular. It's such a that park itself. They have to limit the entrance just because there's literally nowhere to put the cars, like in a normal state of state of being. It's one of those. It's very, very popular. We camped there with a scout troop once, and it was, or a few times maybe, and we actually hiked it up at night. So it's a really cool view at night.
Wow.
There was like a thunderstorm approaching. We actually had to leave a little early because you could see it coming, but can't obviously be up there when it's like that. But really good stargazing and stuff like that too from the top. So a really neat view from up there at nighttime too.
Yeah, the largest granite dome. It's the only spot like it in the country. Found that out. Quick Google search. My dad and I were talking earlier today, and he said there's a similar rock. It's limestone, but I looked it up. The Ayers Rock in like north central Australia that he hiked when he was 26. He was one up in me, as dads are great at doing. But in Australia, he climbed a similar rock. But I don't know. It wasn't hiking, Paul, like I know you've done a lot, but it was really climbing a rock, and that was just really fun to do.
What was it? How long did it take to get up there? That's one thing I have to admit. It's one Texas thing I haven't done yet.
Going up and down, I paused it while I was resting. It was about an hour. Again, there were folks flying past me, but I'd say realistically an hour 10, 15, probably hour 5, I think is what I had on my watch. But I think it's
definitely it's a challenge. I mean, for one thing, it's solid rock. I mean, so it's a little different. So you've got that, but it is a steep elevation change too. So it'll tax you pretty well coming up for sure. That summit trail especially, it'll wear you out. And yeah, coming down is gravity helps you, but it also makes your muscles have to work in a different way coming down. So hence the soreness.
Yeah, it was easier going down, but I was more scared of falling and then rolling down and just
that would have been great. That would have been a great story for the podcast.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do that?
I'd still be in the ER right now, I think, if that
with COVID.
Yeah, somehow I'd get COVID on the way down. But so couldn't recommend that higher. If you've never been to Enchanted Rock, recommend that. There's that elephant preserve I was talking about. So I also went with Mrs. Texas Porch, went to Luckenbach, Texas. Have you been there, Paul?
I have, yes.
So the original plan was to go see Pat Green. Pat Green and Corey Murrow were playing there Friday night. But in case you haven't heard, there's this little worldwide pandemic happening. It was the right thing, but man, would that have been awesome. And it was a lot. I knew it was small going in, but you go down this, again, not much advertising, but you go down this little farm to market road, and it is just a different kind of Texas. It is a different kind of vibe and perfect in that area of the state, but they still had a band playing. They have live music. They tout that every day of the week, but they just had some cold beers. They had a little bit of food, not huge meals or anything, but going to all of those spots, it really just made and we did the LBJ Ranch thing again, Paul, just down the road from that in Stonewall last year. Mitch, Paul and I went to the birthplace of President Johnson, Lyndon Johnson, not Andrew Johnson or Jackson. But I was thinking one of the presidents had been named Johnson, but this time, Paul, we made it. We saw that schoolhouse that we saw last year, and you drive out in this long ranch road, and you're right by the cows. Like the cows are almost blocking this ranch road that are there. Big Hereford cows, cattle. And you drive by his old Air Force Half One hangar. You're going deep back into this ranch. Had to be, thousands of acres back there. One thing you might know, Paul, is that where President Johnson is buried? Because they had this really nondescript cemetery as you're coming and looping back to get out of the ranch, because we barely beat the deadline getting in there. But is that where President Johnson's buried? And because Mrs. Texas Porch and I assumed he would be at Arlington National Cemetery, or can you override that and come back to because they said it was the family cemetery?
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I think if I recall, some of his family is buried there. I don't know for sure if he is. And I would guess a president could be buried wherever they wanted. I mean, he got back there as often as he could. That was his his place to exist. And after he was out of office too. I remember they told a story. We took a tour years ago. They told us the story of he had a amphibious car. I don't know if you saw this or whatever, but he had this little car that could also act as a boat. His favorite thing was to take like friends of the family or something or newlyweds on a little, let's go for a little drive. And they'd get in this little car, not knowing what they were climbing into. And he'd be driving along and just all of a sudden just take a hard turn right into the river and just, float through the river, a pond or something, and just like freak them out and see how the young groom reacted, to whether he was going to protect his future bride or not. But I remember them telling that story that he did that more than once to some of the visitors or family members or whatever. He loved that little gag to, try to scare them.
All right. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
He is buried at the family cemetery there on the LBJ Ranch.
Oh,
there you go.
Drove right by it. And I'm telling you, it does not stand out. There's not like this huge marker. That's very impressive because, it's like there have to be 15 or so headstones, if that. Wow. Research Mitch. That's really cool. So couldn't recommend that. So I've got one other thing I just remembered that I showed you, and I guess I don't have to show you, but I bought my first Stetson.
Wow.
Oh boy.
So
adding to Texas legend there.
Yeah. If folks cannot already know, I'm not the most cowboy of country folk, but I think I was a little bit off on the hat purchase because it's more, y'all have seen it, it's more of the safari look, but little backstory that Mitch might be able to fill in the gaps just a tad. But I have a rather large head. Okay.
What?
I know, shocking. And last year,
that's what she meant so long ago when she wrote XXLH.
Yes.
On that piece of paper. Okay.
Go and tell the story if you want.
I think that's good enough. Okay.
My mom had
that was for your cap for your cap and gown.
High school graduation cap. And my mom made an extra box because my head was so big. Not extra large head, extra large head. So it's been a
XXLH.
Been a punchline for Mitch, deservedly so. But so there's a Lucchese shop in Fredericksburg. I go in, not really thinking I'd have a lot of luck because we went in there last year, tried a couple on, but wouldn't. They didn't fit. It was a good try, but the woman that helped me this time, I don't know if she was more patient, but maybe it was just luck of the draw. I found a hat. I'm calling it cowboy hat. It's the Australian cowboy hat. Let's call it that. I've got the Stetson, so I might break that out here soon for you guys. But I just felt just a wee bit, if possible, more Texan. You got to have a good pair of boots. I'm not working up to the Wranglers just yet. I don't have the cowboy shirt, but you got to have a good country hat in there.
Yeah, man, that's good. That is good stuff right there. I can't. I'm kind of like you. I never have really been able to pull off the cowboy hat. It's never really been my style. So I've gone more with the the caddy hat type thing, but that's not near Texan enough. So I respect it.
Okay.
Definitely respect it.
Paul is assembling in the background. There you go. See.
Oh, Paul comes on camera with the nicely curved cowboy hat.
Now, is that a Stetson too?
Palm leaf for you.
What kind is that?
Mexican palm leaf.
Mexican palm leaf.
Yep.
How much that set you back?
Cool for the summer. I don't know. I've had this about 10 years. I don't remember. How much it was, but
it fits.
It does a job. Thank you.
You take that to the Pagoda Rodeo, I guess.
Yes,
back when they had the Pagoda Rodeo.
Well, they had it this year, but we did not partake this year. Second time in my almost 42 years, did not attend the Pagoda Rodeo this year. So,
well, it fits you.
Thank you.
Okay, one other thing that I had to confess to Mitch. Paul and I have been discussing road trip options coming up here in the next few days. So I have made an inquiry to Uncle Bob. I have not heard back yet, but Mitch, I already know Paul's answer, but what would you think for a trip down to Galveston? And don't be pressured because that high-pressure recording light is on right now.
Wow. What are we talking here?
We're thinking Sunday through Tuesday.
Like the Sunday that's coming up right now?
Next one coming up in this week.
I mean, it sounds awesome.
But you've got
I don't know if it can actually happen, but it definitely sounds awesome.
Yeah, the way in the past, the way we spring trips on Mitch, I mean, the offer's always extended, but you just haven't been able to make because a couple years ago Paul and I did a Texas tour, had some killings, went to the San Jacinto Monument, took in a very hotly contested Astros and White Sox baseball game. He spent 2 hours with me deciding on my backpack at 5:11, but I don't know. I figured that'd be too tough for you, Mitch, to get away, but got a sweet condo, man.
Yeah.
And it is the beach.
Dang.
Here's the only thing I'll let you stew on a bit. The beach might be closed. So
Oh no.
So
Oh no.
Just gonna look at it from afar. Just be like, hey, beach.
It used to be down there.
Luckily,
still sandy.
Uncle Bob's condo, you can see the water pretty well from the beach, from his condo. But yeah, so that might.
But at least you can just look at it from afar and go, "Sup, beach." Thank you.
Sup, biatch.
What are they gonna do to us? We go like middle of the night and go check it out. Go get our toes sandy.
Be rebels. Just be rebels.
With a mask. We'll wear a mask if that makes anybody feel better.
I read in the Galveston paper that they had like $500 fines to people that on the July 4th weekend when they violated that order, all those folks that aren't going to be told violating their freedom, what they're going to put in their body. So yeah, I'd have to wait and see. So Paul, here is my live on air, recorded and edited take to you that I don't know right now if we're going or not to.
Okay.
So
fair enough. I have a backup plan.
Okay. Can we discuss now? Does this need to be vetted out before live recorded airspace?
Great. Wait, let me get some popcorn.
There's something else Mitch can't join us for. No, just kidding. No, there's some East Texas barbecue that we could consume. Couple options. We've got Bodacious Barbecue on Moberly in
Longview, basically,
Longview.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
And then we've got our old stomping grounds of Stanley's in Tyler. We could meet at, which I understand we might be recording a podcast there at some point. Live action.
Awesome. Yes, I've talked to one of the managers at Stanley's. Have you been there, Mitch? Did we go there? Did we meet there? Or since we're not still friends, was that just Paul?
Not sure.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Not sure right now.
Anyway,
let me check my sources.
That would be a day trip, so maybe Mitcher could sneak away with us.
Yeah, and I do want to have a full barbecue episode. And it probably wouldn't be the time on a Stanley's episode to say there are other barbecue spots I like more or ranking Stanley's.
Yes.
Let me tell you,
this place sucks.
You're not that great. Let me tell you. You tell him.
Let's talk about the driftwood and Killian's and
yes.
Blacks.
So I'd be down for that. Here's my other option. I feel like less Texan that I've never been there, but going out to Palo Duro Canyon. That's the one big thing I haven't done that I really wanted. I'm sure I'd admit there are other things I want to add on my Texas road trip bucket list, but never gone to Palo Duro Canyon. And I have this vision, this little playlet that works out in my mind that Paul and I would be sharing a tent and just a lot of wackiness ensues. Have you ever hiked out there? I guess, have you ever stayed out there and hiked out there, P. Diddy?
I have been there. It was on a A&M Commerce basketball trip. So I have a picture. I actually stumbled across this the other day of me and Jermaine Thomas. There's a name you might remember.
Yes. Nice. Big man,
standing
right?
at the edge of he said, Paul, can you take my picture standing here in front of this canyon? I'm going to send it back to my friends, Okay, sure, buddy.
Pre-selfie days. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Those are pre-selfie days.
Yes, exactly. Nobody took selfies then. We didn't know how. But, so we did that. It was just like a few hours. We didn't get to hike down very far or anything, but that's my only experience with it. I haven't stayed there. Man. It'd be fun.
Jermaine Thomas was on that team. You had Brandon Manning. Remember how good he was? Little guard.
Yeah.
Harold, the dunking Mahia Black Cat grad, Harold Chambers. Remember he could jump out of the gym.
Oh my God.
H-Town. Yes, sir.
Come on, Paul.
Amazing.
Let's talk. Paul knows more names.
No. That's all you got.
They would come back to me.
Who came off the bench, huh?
That would have been okay. Paul, can we get a Kyle Kruger? Kyle Kruger would have been.
Kruger was in the posse. Yeah,
he would have been a junior
of the day
on that team.
Had a little.
He was
goodness.
from Round Rock.
Brad Linder was a little earlier on.
Yeah, Brad Linder was a few years before that with Eric Pinter, Pat Krafka, Tim Cleveland, 40 guy Mitch. Tim Cleveland played on the 1990. Oh, that was way before. Yeah, that would have been 92 when they played. Anyway. So for those that aren't huge A&M Commerce and East Texas State basketball aficionados, you can pay attention again. But I don't know. The other caveat that you have to stew on with Paladuro Canyon, if we went out there, they're not allowing camping. So, and they're only allowing some day hiking. So probably not the best.
Allowing camping.
Yeah, and it makes
a lot of sense.
It's 105 in Dallas right now. I don't know. It's a dry heat out there, they tell you, but that's dang hot.
Yeah,
it's not the most comfortable place during the day.
Not the campiest weather.
No.
So, long way of telling you, I think our barbecue option is going to be the one that we go with, if that's okay with you guys.
Sure.
All right, gents. This week in Texas sports and history. Thanks to Texas State Historical Association for some of these tidbits. July 9th, 1976. Thursday, on this date as we're recording, Larry Durker no-hits the Expos. Met him a few years back. Later went on to manage the Astros. Great guy, former Astros manager and broadcaster as well. July 9th of 1948. Ground was broken at the Bonham Veterans Administration Hospital. The facility was planned to provide general medical and surgical treatment and nursing home care for veterans. Thanks to the great Sam Rayburn, Speaker of the U.S. House, served as principal orator of the event, and in 1973, a hospital renamed the Sam Rayburn Memorial Veterans Center up near our hometown ways. July 9th of 1716, Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe de los Nacogdoches Mission was founded by the Domingo Ramon Expedition in a village of the Nacogdoches Indians down my way here in East Texas. Father Antonio Margil de Jesus was in charge of the mission that was abandoned temporarily. And it became, I don't know if you knew this part of it. You knew all the other stuff, but it became the first Zacatean mission to be restored by the Marqués de Aguayo in 1721. Did you know that?
All I know is this sounds like you've been working on your Spanish, PJ.
CC.
Sir.
So I say all of that to tell you that it was permanently abandoned in 1773, but in 1779, the deserted buildings formed the nucleus for the settlement of Nacogdoches, the oldest town in Texas.
Yes,
Get
sir.
out of here. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
The Knack.
Here's a good. July 10th of 1980, Jessica Simpson was born. You know what Texas city or town she was born in? It is in Texas.
Dallas? I don't know.
Abilene. Born in Abilene. Jessica Simpson turning 40 on Friday. July 11th, 1985, Nolan Ryan. That continues the streak of however many episodes we have. Nolan Ryan's been mentioned in every one of them because he's the greatest Texan, right? But he struck out Danny Heap to become the first pitcher to strike out 4,000 batters.
Nice.
Here's another one that all three of us can lay claim to, at least the ballpark in Arlington. But on July 11th of 1995, the ballpark hosted the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Our baseball pants were going crazy back then.
Yes.
17, not caring about nothing. We had the All-Star Game in our park.
Yes, sir.
July 12th of 1943, Baylor College of Medicine opened in a former Sears Roebuck store in Houston. The school, the only private medical school in the Southwest, was founded in Dallas in 1900. But get this, it was founded as the University of Dallas Medical Department, even though the University of Dallas did not yet exist. But Baylor assumed control 3 years later. Score one for the Baptist, Paul. We got it right there with Baylor College of Medicine. Okay, maybe y'all know something about this. July 13th of 1903, a proclamation was made from the steps of the Texas Capitol offering a $50,000 prize for the discovery of a way to rid Texas of the boll weevil.
Nice.
Couldn't tell you
Eating up all the cotton.
exactly. See, I knew Mr. Eagle Scout would know this, but so they had this. It's a small snout beetle had been ravaging cotton crops in Mexico for a long, long time. Got into Texas, later up into East Texas in the early 1900s, and then started making his way north into the west to the High Plains. Long and the short of it is, the 1903 prize was never awarded to anyone. So I guess it got extinct. Who knows about the boll weevil?
I don't know.
No,
It's gone. It's not a thing.
Our researcher is researching the boll weevil.
Well, I mean, I knew about the boll weevil. I just didn't know it was extinct.
July 14th of 1938, Houston native Howard Hughes and a four-man crew landed their specially equipped Lockheed 14 in New York City, having circled the globe in 3 days, 19 hours, and 17 minutes. They cut in half Charles Lindbergh's record for crossing the Atlantic. Hughes was born in Houston in 1905, attended Rice for some time, side note there, but died in 1976 on a plane from Acapulco to Houston. A guy I know very little about, but didn't like germs, very eccentric, right? Had a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see that movie?
I did not. The Aviator?
Yeah. It's a good one.
Did not say that so
definitely
confidently.
one you want to see.
Leonardo.
And unfortunately, I don't know much about Howard Hughes outside of that, so that's kind of my reality, which is a shame. But it's a very good movie.
Huh.
There you go.
It's got to be true. It's in a movie. July 15th of 1882, the Texas Bar Association was organized in Galveston. O.M. Roberts and Robert S. Gould were leaders in calling the organizational meeting, attended by 300 attorneys, and it paced the way for the State Bar of Texas. Those nice lawyers. July 15th, continuing the Nolan Ryan train, 1973 tossed his second no-hitter this season for the Angels. And ending on a high, July 15th, 1961, the great Forrest Whitaker was born in Longview. Paul, you just mentioned going over there to get some good BBQ. Turns 59, so a little Forrest Whitaker trivia. Does anybody have a favorite Forrest Whitaker who's got to be up there as far as native Texans that are notable actors? Matthew McConaughey, Forrest Whitaker.
Remember like specific roles though. He's just such a kind of a bit player.
Exactly. But he's great in everything he does.
Yeah. Good Morning Vietnam, was he in that?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, that's what tripped me up. I was trying to think of movies. I haven't seen him in a movie, I think, in the last 15 years or so. There was one trailer that looks amazing. A Fall from Grace, where he plays a minister. He was in Good Morning Vietnam. He was in Platoon. He was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. At that time, he was really young doing that. And Color of Money. He was in that. I remember him in that. But really, you go later on in his filmography, and I just didn't watch a lot of his movies for 15. Phone Booth.
What are some of his more recent ones?
See, he did Last King of Scotland in 2006. He was in a lot of TV shows. A lot of the Star Wars, I guess it says video game. I don't know why it says video game in a filmography, but movie Burden, played a preacher in 2018. He was in Black Panther in 2018. He was in, seemed like the Star Wars, The Forgiven, played Desmond Tutu in The Forgiven.
Okay.
All right.
He was in Taken 3 as well. And he was in Out of the Furnace. That's another one. I did see him. So I haven't seen a movie with him in it in the last 7 years or so, but the great Forrest Whitaker.
He's like the ultimate, you know how Trump calls Biden sleepy eyes? Forrest Whitaker's the ultimate sleepy eyes actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd have to put him up the list. The first few episodes, I guess that was the first couple we did, the list of guests we'd love to have on. That would just somebody I wasn't thinking of at the time. That in that, I mean, he's obviously not in the echelon of Matthew McConaughey, but Forrest Whitaker up there, that would definitely cause a ripple in the Texas waves if we could get him on.
That would be awesome.
All right,
Actually,
folks.
very sweet.
I got one more shout out.
Okay.
So my eldest son was born on July 10th, 2010.
There you go. I knew it was around this time.
10 years old, buddy. Made it a decade.
Man, that is crazy.
Tell him he was on This Week in Texas History on Texas Porch. That's fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, that is awesome. I was just thinking of him before the show started because I knew he had a birthday around this time, and I was embarrassed to ask as one of your besties.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember.
Tomorrow, we're all geared up. We're not much we can do to celebrate, but we've got a cake, and we've probably going to go find his favorite lunch spot to take out and enjoy the day. So
that's awesome because I think on our road trip that I mentioned a few minutes ago, the San Jacinto Monument, the Killins, kind of the Southeast Texas tour, he had a birthday close to then.
Mm-hmm.
So it's around this time, that time. All right, gents, you all take it easy. Okay.
Will do.
Happy to be back.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back. Stay tuned in previous episodes or coming up, I guess, episodes in the future, however you word that. We've had our Get to Know Paul episode. We're going to have Get to Know Josh, and we're going to have Get to Know Mitch coming up here soon. For those that not
Stay
fake news.
tuned.
It's happening one way or another. So y'all get used to that. All right, fellas. Talk to y'all later out here on the Texas Porch.
Howdy, folks.
Welcome to the State Fair. We didn't even cover that story, did we?
We did not.
Yeah. I think I teased
That was
it.
lead off, and we didn't get there.
Oh, yeah. By the way, they're not having the State Fair. I think you already knew that. If you needed to tune in here to get your news, don't do it. Save that for the promo. Okay.
Wait, you don't do like an outro?
Yeah, I'm trying to ramp up into it, but I never. I realized.
I thought you just ended the show.
No, I'm still talking. I realized that I didn't do
a great move we're making here.
Yeah.
Making waves in radio.
And I don't even care. I'm not even going to edit out this faux pas. But
just leave this in here.
Yeah, I didn't even do the one. I haven't pulled up the whole story, but we got talking about Fredericksburg through me. Anyway, all right, gents.
Stay hard.
Adios.
Stay tuned for the next edition of the Texas Porch, the TexasPorch.com, that Mitch designed website. Make sure you subscribe on Apple as well. That tremendously helps us out. Follow us on Twitter, Texas Porch, find it on Facebook as well. Wherever you are in this great state of Texas, have a great rest of this day or night. And God bless you and God bless Texas. Talk to you next week out here on the Texas Porch. Sports. Howdy, folks.
Forrest Whitaker's the ultimate sleepy eyes actor.
We didn't even cover that story, did we?